What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Command and Console. My name is Jason. Today we're talking about a genre or subgenre, the Dark Souls games, and the subgenre it's created. I've been collecting these kind of games and I really like them, but I'm terrible at them, so I don't complete them. But I thought I'd just show you the games I have in the collection. So the first up is the original Dark Souls. This is the Prepare to Die edition, and we've got the remastered edition. This is probably the best of the bunch, in my opinion, in terms of like the true Souls experience. I know maybe people will argue, you know, Dark Souls 3 kind of perfected the systems and the mechanics, made it even better, so to speak. But I just feel like this original game is where it kind of like it perfects the whole kind of systems and mechanics for me. One more try, one more go. You know, you come across a boss, you're just like, oh, he destroyed me in one hit. Let's go about and grind out some souls and make myself even stronger. It's just one of those games where it's just like, you know, it's so satisfying to kill shit, and so satisfying to try and defeat a boss, and then finally doing it after so many times. It's such a good gameplay loop for me. I love it. Yeah, Dark Souls is one of the best, if not the best, in the whole kind of what's become a subgenre. I don't know whether it's allowed to be called that, but it has become its own kind of game. Like, there's no games quite like these ones. But yeah, that's Dark Souls Remastered and Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition. Yeah, one of the best ever. If you saw my favourite RPGs, this game is in my top 10 because it's awesome. That's Dark Souls. Next up is a game I've already talked about. It's Dolmen. Still haven't played this one, but it looks alright. It looks fairly fun, I guess. It's very, very hard sci-fi. It's focused more on guns than it is melee combat. It looks alright. It got middling reviews. It looks fine to me. That's Dolmen. Next up is Darksiders 3, another game I've shown you guys that I feel like is really underrated. Really fun game, just satisfying combat. I've actually started playing these games again. I've started Darksiders 1, and I plan to go through each game. So yeah, I'm really enjoying these Darksiders games. The first one is really good, completely different to what this video is about. But Darksiders 3 is a straight up Souls-like in this universe. Each game is their own kind of style. Darksiders 3 is really good. I highly recommend it. It's dirt cheap now. One of the cheapest Souls-likes you can pick up at the moment. I think people forget that it's a Souls-like because I think people forget about this franchise. That's Darksiders 3. Awesome game. Awesome Souls-like. Next up is another game I've not played yet, but I do plan to get onto at some point. Immortal Unchained. Another game that got absolutely destroyed in the review process. But I mean, like, it can't be that bad, right? You know, I've got a cousin, I've mentioned him before. He's a massive Souls-like fan, and this is a game that he actually really enjoyed. So yeah, I'm on board with it. It looks like it's a hyper sci-fi shoot 'em up game. We focus on like more kind of using guns than melee weapons, just like Dolmen. I think this came out before Dolmen, so it was the leading kind of game when it concerns, you know, Dark Souls with guns. I think people were labeling this one as, but it looks pretty fun to me. It could be decent. It was dirt cheap. It was like £4 on Xbox One, so why not grab it? That's Immortal Unchained. Now this next game is one that I actually am just a super fan of. I adore this one. Yeah, that's Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. I've spoken about this one a few times now, ad nauseum, you could say about it, but I've put hours into this that I didn't think I would do. I'm not the kind of person to put loads of hours into video games. I play them until the fun stops, and then I stop playing them. But this one, the fun just continued to carry on throughout the whole experience, to the point where I achieved the platinum. I put up a community post about that recently. I don't get platinums ever. I don't hunt for trophies ever. So for me to dig into this one and actually want to 100% it is saying a lot. Even to me, you know, even I can't believe that I went that far with this one and got the platinum trophy. I just think it's a testament to how much I love this game. I loved it. I think it's fantastic. I've still got my DLC to do. I don't think I'm going to 100% all the DLCs because some of it's a bit finicky, but I just want to get all the story content and finish the story content in the DLC. But this game, if you want a just awesome action focused combat with a fairly interesting story, fairly likable characters. But like I said, that list of combat that is the winner for this game. Stranger of Paradise is one of the best. I absolutely love this. It's one of the best Souls-like games I've played. It's awesome. I highly recommend it. That's Strangers of Paradise. Next up is another game I spoke about before, Code Vein. The anime-esque vampire Dark Souls-like. Like I said before, I've not played this one. I think I played a demo years ago when it came out. I thought it was all right from what I remember. But yeah, this seems to be one that seems to be up on the upper echelon of Souls-likes. People seem to really like this one. So I'm looking forward to checking this out at some point. I've got such a backlog of games now, it's getting stupid. But such is life when you collect video games, I suppose. But yeah, Code Vein looks fun, could be decent. I remember the demo being fairly good back in the day, so who knows? Who knows? This could be a good one. I think it got unfairly labelled as anime Dark Souls because I feel like the anime art style could either be a selling point for you, or it can really turn you off. More often than not, it can turn me off. Depends on what the game is, I think. It really does depend on what the game is, the anime kind of art style. See, I like anime. I'm really into anime, in fact, especially like 80s and 90s anime in particular. But in video games, I'm not really into the art. I don't look for that art style in video games. So sometimes it does put me off. Let's see what this does. That's Code Vein. Next up is the PS5 remake of Demon Souls. Yes, I love the original Demon Souls. I don't own that yet. I want to get that on PS3 at some point. But this one, looking forward to checking this one out at some point. Yeah, I've heard it's a really good, faithful remake of the original. They've taken loads of care to make it as one-to-one as possible, which I'm happy about. It's just got prettier graphics and stuff like that. I'm hoping they've got the vibe of it as close as they can without ruining it, I suppose. I've heard that they've got like a filter that you can have the original lighting and colours of the original game, which is quite cool. So I might, for nostalgia's sake, I might put that filter on just to have a look at what the game looks like with the original lighting and colours. Demon Souls, I feel like I'm onto a winner with this one. So definitely one I had to get for the collection of Souls likes. Demon Souls. Next up is a brand new game that I got for my birthday. My sister was kind enough to get me this one. Hellpoint. Now, so this is interesting. So back when I wasn't really a Souls-like dude, I wasn't really a fan of this kind of genre. I liked Dark Souls. I've always liked the original Dark Souls and Demon Souls, for example. But anything outside of the core franchise I've never really kind of liked. I remember playing a demo for this when the first demo came out for it. I didn't really care for it that much, but I feel like since it's come out and over the last few years, it's gained kind of a cult following. A lot of people like this one, and it's made me feel like, you know what, I want to give it a second try. You know, maybe the demo wasn't representative of the final product, so it could have all the things I didn't like about it in the demo may have been ironed out by now with, you know, with the final release and updates and patches and stuff like that. So this one really intrigues me. I've heard loads of people say it's pretty much Dead Space and Dark Souls, you know, smooshed together. So it could be a good one. It sounds cool to me. I love the Dead Space kind of horror, sci-fi stuff, and obviously the Dark Souls stuff is really cool as well. So Hellpoint could be good. Let me know if you've played this one. I'm really looking forward to getting onto it at some point. Like I said, the backlog is getting stupid. I've just started to play Darksiders again, so I've got those games I want to go through before I play anything else. So yeah, it's going to be a while before I get onto any of these games. But yeah, that's Hellpoint. Next up, the last two are just the From Software stuff I'm missing. So we've got Bloodborne. Might be the best game of its type after Dark Souls. Sometimes I would put this above Dark Souls. It depends on what my mood is. If I want that gothic, Victorian horror-esque stuff, you know, and I want that kind of more of aggressive gameplay style, because this game does encourage that you play more aggressively, whereas Dark Souls is more defensively, more tactical. This one is like, get in there and fuck shit up. Bloodborne is so good. One of the best games on the PS4, hands down one of the best games of the PS4. One of the best games from that generation even, I would go as far as saying. I absolutely love the art style. I love the vibe of it. I love that, you know, dark, grimy, Victorian setting. It's awesome. It's everything that I love about that kind of period and, you know, those kind of eras, when it concerns the old kind of like Victorian locales and the buildings. And yeah, it's awesome. It's such a good game, man. Like I said, like I've only, out of all these games, I've only beat Strangers of Paradise. Never beat Bloodborne because I suck at this game. These games get a bit too difficult for me, and I just get frustrated and I stop playing them. But this game is still quality. I've played a ton of it. I still love it. That's Bloodborne. The final game is a game I picked up fairly recently because I wanted to give it another try. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Yeah, I remember when this game came out. I didn't like this game when it came out. I found it very, very, very hard to get into. I think it's mostly because it focuses on the parrying system. Now, I suck at any game that says, just before the enemy attack hits you, press this button to parry. And I'm like, great, now I've got to figure out how many frames it's going to be until that blade is going to be close to hitting me before I press the button. My timing is awful on that front in terms of parrying. So it's just, I couldn't get on board with it. I couldn't get on board with it at all. It really pissed me off. I just was dying over and over again. I couldn't get to grips with the combat in terms of the parrying system. The reason why this has made me buy it again is obviously I'm collecting these kind of games, so that's always, it's one I wanted in the collection for one. But also I've heard once you get to grips with the parrying system, the game becomes a lot easier. So I'm hoping to give it another shot and be a bit more patient with this one, and really give it the time to get its mechanics in me and kind of understand it. So that is Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. So that is my little modest Souls-like collection. There is, of course, other Souls-like games I do want in the collection. Games such as The Surge 2. Mortal Shell is definitely one I want to get as well, because that's another game I couldn't get on board with when it came out, but I do feel like enough time has passed where I could revisit that game and maybe enjoy myself. I do want to get Dark Souls 2 and 3 as well. For the collection, both, especially Dark Souls 2, I want both the vanilla Dark Souls 2 on 360 and the remastered version as well. Scholars of the First Sin edition, I want that for PS4. There still is a bunch of Souls-likes that I do want for their collection, but as it stands, I've kind of only just started collecting these. I started really getting into the genre properly. I used to, obviously, like I said, I loved Dark Souls back in the day. I loved Demon Souls back in the day, but I've never been a fan of the series properly. But recently I've really gotten this, I think thanks to Strangers of Paradise and getting into that game and putting all those hours in and really getting into the systems and the combat and stuff, I think it's got me into the genre as a whole. And it's great to have games like that, games that are more accessible to people that aren't necessarily into the Souls, formula. And those kind of games are great for gateway games to make people go, actually, I love these systems and these ways of playing. And it actually makes people want to pursue and check out other games from that kind of style of game or genre, I suppose you could call it. But those are my current collection for Souls-likes. I love them, but I never finish them because I am terrible. As always, guys, let me know any of your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, let's continue to build a Souls-like collection.